Do you want to start a print farm but you don't have the money or space to add more 3D printers? Well, there is another way, with only 10 minutes of setup time and no electronics or firmware changes. Today we test the auto plate changer from Printflow3D. Perhaps the most efficient way to automate a print queue is to eject the finished print and add a new one rather than buying additional 3D printers. Previously, I documented my modification of an FL Sun Super Racer to have a conveyor belt bed, with the aim of providing continuous part printing. Of course, you can replicate this yourself by following the instructions, but that will involve printing parts, buying hardware, wiring electronics, and making firmware changes. The alternative system we're looking at today is very plug and play because it's purely mechanically based. So let's jump in. The system we're testing today is from Printflow3D and it's called the Auto Plate Changer. They are based in Germany and have developed this system for the Bambu Lab A1, which they use in their own print farm. When it comes to purchasing, we have two main options. The first being a complete kit, which you're seeing in this video, and that has a base price of 250 euros, which currently is around 290 US dollars. It's capable of having 11 plates stacked, 2 of which are included, and we can get extra ones with an additional cost. The second option is the do-it-yourself kit. It comes with the necessary hardware, some printed parts, but the rest you'll be 3D printing yourself. The upside of this is it's significantly cheaper, coming in at 80 euros. Of note for this option is it doesn't come with any beds, but these are sold separately elsewhere on the website, and you can also use ones you have yourself, which I'll demonstrate later. The end result of either option is exactly the same. We have a system that will eject a finished print and load up a new plate, with a maximum of 11 in the magazine. And this is achieved without any electronics or firmware changes. It's purely mechanical. And they boast that anyone can get started in under 10 minutes without special knowledge or any specific setup or calibration. The assembled kit you're seeing in this video was provided free of charge for review and has been reviewed in accordance with my review policy. Let's move on to the installation. My kit arrived well packaged, probably more plastic packaging than I would like, but I can't deny that all of the parts were in good condition from this. As you can see, the kit includes all of the printed parts, as well as some mechanical parts, and as much as possible is already complete in sub-assemblies. Things like magnets and threaded inserts are already installed, and in my opinion, the print quality on these parts is pretty good. I think it's a carbon-filled PETG. That hides layer lines, and it has a pretty professional appearance overall. The only blemishes I can see are on a few of the steeper overhangs. The beds provided in this kit are ready to go because they already have the required printed part installed. They have a textured PEI coating and overall the dimensions match the factory Bambu beds. Included in the box is a welcome note with a QR code that points to this Google Drive folder. Inside we have a subfolder with software and a video walkthrough, a subfolder for assembled kit buyers, the most important thing here being an assembly video, and then a subfolder for those doing the do-it-yourself version. That includes a 3MF with all of the files you need to print, and they're all correctly oriented and ready to go with the correct settings. And a step-by-step illustrated guide, including tools, hardware, print settings, and then assembly. I didn't need to follow these instructions since I had the kit, but they do seem quite comprehensive. So let's get the kit installation done and test that pretty big claim that it takes under 10 minutes. I actually think that's very realistic, assuming you don't include watching the 5-minute assembly video. This does a good job in showing the steps clearly, and I only have two complaints. The first is an annoying AI voice, and the second is that it doesn't show how to mount the plates in the magazine, but this is pretty straightforward to work out. This is definitely a user-friendly task. There's less than 10 bolts in the whole assembly, and there's no ambiguous steps where you're not sure what part goes where. One thing not really advertised on the website, but I think the designers deserve credit for, is making this kit 100% reversible. There's no permanent changes to the printer at all. And that's because the product has been developed to use existing holes in the printer and existing screws. We can see an example of this for the part that goes on the back of the bed. We undo the 3 factory screws, add the printed part, and then use 3 new longer screws from the kit. We have a similar situation with this part that goes on top of the gantry, this guidance clip that is a snap fit to the existing injection molding, and the front and rear attachments that simply rest on the table and have metal pins to line up on the underside of the printer, meaning no holes need to be drilled or any other permanent alterations. A plate is added to the bed with the bulkier part facing down at the front, and the spare plates are added to the magazine with the same orientation. All up, I think I took 15 minutes, including mucking around with the camera. And after I was done, I couldn't resist playing with the mechanisms and trying to predict how the whole plate swap system would work. And as you're soon to see, my guesses were pretty close to the mark. And that brings us onto the software so we can do it for real. The software is found on the website along with the tutorial, the same one from the Google Drive. And I have to agree with the claim here that this is incredibly simple to use. We start as usual in the slicer, that can be Bambu Studio or as I tested, Orca Slicer. And for my first print, I've prepared the simplest of jobs. One plate with a number 1, another plate with a number 2. We input all of our settings as per usual, and then change from slice plate to slice all, before slicing the job like you usually would. We now change the output from print plate to export all sliced files, click this and export a 3MF file. We now head to the website and drop our 3MF onto the upload box. The 2 plates from my job will be detected, and you'll have confirmation of the print time and material usage. There's also a loops function, so for instance if you wanted the same job to run 10 times in a row, here's where you would input that. Assuming all looks good, all we need to do is click generate and we'll have another 3MF exported with the modifications in place. And if you're someone who doesn't like to rely on cloud software, for Linux and Windows we have offline versions that we can download and install. And based on my testing, both the UI and function is identical. So what's changed in our exported file? Well, firstly it has flow as part of the name now. And if we re-import the 3MF, we can see that the 2 plates have been overlaid with each other, but dragging the slider reveals that the number 1 will print first, followed by the number 2. The change that's happened here is deceptively simple, and if we change the 3MF extension to zip and then compare what's inside, we can find the embedded G-code files and compare the before and after. We can see that everything is identical at the start of the file, but as we get to the end of the print job, we have an inserted G-code sequence that moves the bed and the gantry into the correct positions to load and unload the beds. From there, the whole second print job is pasted in, and then at the end of that plate, we have the same sequence to unload that bed and load up the next one. So in summary, we prepare a multi-plate job in the slicer, drag this onto the Printflow3D software to set the amount of loops and then generate a modified version, which is then re-imported back to the slicer and then sent to the printer like any other job. And if you run your printer offline, you can put the modified 3MF on an SD card and start the print job that way. Let's look at how this first job went, and the first thing I noted was that the resonance compensation is still performed by the printer, so the added weight to the bed should not affect print quality. And the rest of the start sequence was the same with all of the usual things present. With the number 1 print finished, here's a complete plate swap so you can see how long it takes. First, the gantry rises the whole way to the top to push on the lever. This raises an arm at the front that will catch onto the printed part attached to the bed, and then through a series of back and forth movements, the bed is slowly ejected from the base. And I do think this is a safer way to do it, as there's less magnetic contact in doing it step by step rather than trying to yank it off on one big go. Finally, we have a large movement where the printer hooks the bed onto the very front static hook. This gets the bed completely loose, and at the same time, the base has moved to the rear to grab onto the next plate. The bed then moves the whole way to the front, and that gives enough range of motion to push the old plate free. The rear of the new plate is held in place with a magnet, and then the bed retracts very slowly until the lip is almost aligned, and there's one tiny final movement which always seems to get it to perfectly spill over the edge and snap into the correct position. Finally, the bed moves forward and the process is complete, with the new print going through the same warm-up procedure as you would usually have. And after the last plate is finished, the same ejection procedure takes place, which ensures you'll have a fresh plate in place ready for the next print job that you might want to start. So far so good, but let's up the complexity by introducing the AMS light and a multicolor print. I went for this filament measuring tool by Roland, preparing a single plate with a simple color swap to make the text and lines stand out on the last couple of layers. As this job was only a single plate, I used the loops feature in the software before generating the final G-code, with this output 3MF being re-imported back into Orca Slicer and then sent to the printer wirelessly. Of interest for this job was having a purge block at the very back of the plate, and I wondered if it would interfere with the operation. But I'm pleased to report, for every plate change, it worked exactly as it did before. So far in my early testing, the system had been 100% reliable, with my filament measuring tools pumped out one after each other. So far so good, but we should up the ante by adding my own plates and trying more complex print jobs. If we inspect the plates that came with the kit, we can see that it's got the same exterior shape as a factory Bambu Lab bed, but it has the addition of the printed part on the front that works with the mechanism. So I was keen to test if I could use my existing Bambu Lab plates in this system by adding the printed part at the front. To facilitate this, in the online materials, we have the STL for the exact part we need. I printed some in carbon field PETG and noticed the two versions were a little different, I guess different revisions. Fitment looked to be similar enough, but obviously I was missing the holes required for the bolts to go through. So I slid the bracket into place, getting it roughly centered, flipped everything over, supported the plate on some scrap, and used a 3.5mm drill bit to add the required holes. This turned out really clean, and there's nothing to stop you from using this sheet with the holes as per usual. But I continued by melting in some Voron Spec M3 threaded inserts, and then added the two together, retaining the printed part with some M3x6mm bolts. So for me, that was another 2 sheets to bring my total to 5 into the magazine. To see if they were just as reliable, I devised a very simple torture test. A tiny little disc, but repeated 15 times, with the idea being that after each plate was complete, I would peel off the disc, clean the plate, and add it back into the magazine on top of the pile as the print job was ongoing. I know the actual 3D print was very simplistic, but the idea was to test the reliability of the plate change, with the 5 plates being used 3 times each over the course of the job. And I'm pleased to report that once again, I experienced 100% reliability, even as I let the last 5 plates build up in front of the printer, rather than cleaning them and putting them back in the magazine. Test passed, so let's up the stakes. 5 completely different models, all in different styles, some with different print settings, some single color, some multicolor, all linked below. To prepare, I imported the 5 jobs on a plate each, set up my colors, scales, and used Orca Slicer to apply individual settings for different plates, and then used the Printflow3D software to process everything and put it on one plate. I loaded up 5 clean plates, set up a time lapse and hit go before going to work to leave this completely unattended. The total print time for all of this was almost 14 hours, so the batteries on my camera ran out way before the print was finished. I did spy on the job using Bambu's app earlier in the day, and when I got home, 3 out of 5 jobs were complete, with the longest, a 3 filament hammerhead shark, well underway. This also completed and ejected without issue, followed by the bag clip to finish up. I know this system is limited to the Bambu Lab A1, but in my experience it really is a capable printer, producing a range of different designs like you see here without any loss of print quality from the addition of the autoplate ejection kit. So with another green tick, let's try one more real-world example, with this Star Wars multi-layer silhouette by Printflow3D. This is only 5 simple prints, but the catch is they need to be printed in different colors. So again, I wanted to load them all up and have them print sequentially while I was at work. And again, the system passed with flying colors. I did actually encounter one error, with the printer thinking it had a stuck AMS motor, but this was a false positive as I hit retry on the printer when I got home and everything loaded and continued without further intervention. And that provided me with the 5 different layers I needed to complete the print, but printed one after each other, and the bed being changed automatically with the ejection system without me being there. In my testing, the system has been faultless, but there's still some little caveats to point out. Firstly, compatibility is restricted to a single printer, the Bambu Lab A1, and while this is a very capable printer, multicolor prints through the AMS light are done with a single nozzle, and that means waste filament through the purge block and wipe tower. But probably the biggest problem specific to this system is that the camera placement is not great for checking it on progress if you're running it remotely. Next, there is a downside to the simplicity of the software, and that's that the printer is not aware that anything different is taking place. That means if you check in from the app slicer or on the display, it won't tell you what number plate it's up to from the sequence, and the print progress percentage will only be accurate for the current plate, not the total job. At the top of the gantry, there's a cable where the end is exposed. This is sharp, and I'm told there's a part in development to cap it off and make it a bit safer. And finally, the printer's rubber feet are no longer in full contact with the bench, so I noticed the printer was actually vibrating and moving around a little bit on my table. I'm pleased to report that based on my testing, this has been 100% reliable with 0 failures. The website makes some big claims, but as I see it, it does match what's advertised. So the question becomes, is this concept attractive in terms of starting a print farm or maybe just printing more efficiently? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy continuous 3D printing. G'day, it's Michael again. If you liked the video, then please click like. If you want to see more content like this in future, click subscribe and make sure you click on the bell to receive every notification. If you really want to support the channel and see exclusive content, become a patron. Visit my Patreon page. See you next time.